The episode opens with Jinwoo being abruptly woken by a call from Gina. Her sharp tone highlights his laziness, and he discovers it's already 2 p.m. Gina reminds him of her parent-teacher meeting, sending him into a panic. Later, Jinwoo arrives at the meeting looking unusually polished. Gina is surprised and teases him about his appearance, but he brushes it off, explaining he wanted to make a good impression. Walking through the school halls, Jinwoo becomes the center of attention, with girls whispering about him. Gina jokes about setting him up with someone, but Jinwoo quickly shuts her down. During the meeting, Gina's teacher praises her as a role model with a bright future in medical school. However, she advises Jinwoo not to pressure her too much. When the teacher asks what he'd do if Gina wanted to become a hunter, Jinwoo firmly states, "Not happening." The teacher nods, then asks for a favor from him. Later, Jinwoo meets Suni, who's startled to see him. She quickly realizes he's there to dissuade her from hunting. Unfazed by her defiance, Jinwoo calmly explains the harsh reality of an E-rank hunter's earnings. Frustrated, Suni accuses him of nagging and throws his own E-rank status in his face. Jinwoo surprises her by inviting her to follow him instead of arguing further. Meanwhile, in Japan, Jinul welcomes Donggu with a sarcastic exchange. Jinul directly questions Donggu's intentions, suspecting he's back to meet two specific people, Jinwoo and Leo. Donggu hints at handling unfinished business and urges the surveillance team to look the other way. Jinul, unfazed by Donggu's threats, coolly states he's just doing his job. Elsewhere, Guild Master Choi and his team return from Mijo Island with captured monsters. Choi briefs the Hunter Association chairman, warning that the creatures are repeatedly trying to cross the sea to the mainland. Gunny vows to do whatever it takes to prevent disaster. The scene shifts to Jinwoo meeting Sang and Songyi. Surprised by Jinwoo's call, Sang wonders about his sudden interest in training. He introduces a nearby sea-level gate and explains the raid lineup. 1 A rank, 5 B ranks, 2 C ranks, and 2 E ranks. Jinwoo, displeased with the large team, had hoped to show Songyi the harsh realities of dungeon raids, not a field trip. Despite his reluctance, he agrees to observe. As the team enters the gate, Jinwoo senses danger. The gate glows red, signaling a trap. Jinwoo tries to escape and barely manages to warn Sang to call for backup before being sucked back inside. Sang quickly contacts Beak, who rushes to assist. Inside, the team finds themselves in an endless snowfield. Panic sets in as they realize the gate has vanished. Kim Cha steps up, explaining they're trapped in a red gate, a dungeon where all contact with the outside world is cut off. Jinwoo calmly adds that their only way out is to defeat the boss or wait for the dungeon to collapse. He also warns that the place is crawling with magical beasts. Suddenly, arrows rain down on them, killing one hunter instantly. Jinwoo reacts quickly, catching a second arrow aimed at Songyi and shielding her. She's stunned by his reflexes. The group realizes they're surrounded by ice elves, deadly hunters known for their brutal efficiency. Jinwoo notes how their distance masked their presence and admits that, 2 months ago, he wouldn't have survived this. The ice elves retreat, leaving the group shaken. Kim Cha takes charge, declaring that no one's coming to save them. He insists they follow his orders to survive. To improve their odds, he proposes splitting into 2 teams, warning that staying put risks freezing to death. Most agree to follow him, but he coldly singles out the weaker members, refusing to take them along, claiming they'll only slow the team down. Kim Cha lays it out bluntly. 1 day inside this dungeon equals an hour outside, meaning they could be stuck here for months trying to beat the boss or waiting for the dungeon to collapse. With a frosty tone, he dismisses the weaker members as dead weight, promising to come back for them if they survive. One girl from the group decides to stick with Jinwoo, much to Kim Cha's annoyance. He thinks she's making a foolish choice, but she quietly tells Jinwoo she saw his reflexes earlier and is convinced he's far stronger than he lets on, possibly even a rank or higher. Jinwoo, as always, neither confirms nor denies. Kim Cha confidently declares he'll take the main road, assuming it's the safest. Jinwoo suggests leading his group through the forest instead. Later, Kim Cha's group finds claw marks on the trees, and he smugly announces they're in Ice Bear territory. He scoffs, predicting the E-rank group will meet their end soon. But then, Ice Bears attack his team. One charges, but Kim Cha blocks it with his shield and cleaves it in half with his axe. Without missing a beat, he moves to take on the others. Meanwhile, Jinwoo's group also spots claw marks. The girl warns they're in Ice Bear territory and suggests retreating, but Jinwoo insists they go deeper. He explains that the bears are the only danger here, and they're far less deadly than the elves waiting outside. She realizes he's right, no other magical creatures would dare step into Ice Bear turf. As the air grows colder, Jinwoo casually pulls coats from his subspace inventory and hands them out. The group is amazed, gratefully bundling up, but one member can't help but ask, "Who are you?" Jinwoo dodges the question, simply saying it's his job to protect them. "Don't ask too much," he adds with a grin. Just then, a massive ice bear emerges from the shadows. Jinwoo steps forward, calmly switching his title to Wolf Assassin as he prepares to fight. Outside, Beak studies the ominous red glow of the gate. He knows this is bad news and doubts anyone but top-tier hunters could survive inside. When Sang mentions that Jinwoo entered, Beak raises an eyebrow, asking his rank. Sang replies, "Technically, E rank, but he might have reawakened." Beak doesn't hold out much hope for Jinwoo. Dongsu arrives, and Beak isn't thrilled to see him. "Weren't you supposed to be in America?" he asks. Dongsu ignores the question and immediately demands why an E-rank hunter like Jinwoo was led into the gate. He scoffs at the situation, lamenting that Jinwoo will likely die before he ever gets to meet him. Inside the gate, Jinwoo finishes off the last ice bear, earning a level up while his team stares at him, slack-jawed. The girl mutters, "Who is this guy?" But Jinwoo remains tight-lipped. Later, as the group roasts bear meat over a fire, they marvel at Jinwoo's strength. The girl warns them not to get too comfortable where there's a pack of bears. There's bound to be a lair nearby. Jinwoo stands at the entrance of the ice bear lair, ready to let his shadow army stretch their metaphorical legs. With a commanding wave, he summons them, watching as they rush into battle. The shadows slice through the bears like butter, but a few of the beasts aren't going down without a fight, tearing into the army. No worries, though Jinwoo's mana regenerates his troops faster than a snooze button on a Monday morning. The shadow mages pull their weight, hurling spells with precision. Jinwoo nods in approval, impressed but also grumbling internally about the mana drain. Just as he's getting comfortable, the ice bear boss emerges, a hulking mass of fur and fury. With one devastating move, it obliterates the entire shadow army, draining Jinwoo's mana reserves like a leaky faucet. Out of options, Jinwoo summons his ace, Igris, the Shadow Knight. Calm, collected, and oozing confidence, Igris steps forward. The boss charges, but Igris sidesteps like a seasoned matador, delivering a surgical slash that leaves the bear staggering. In its final, desperate attack, the beast lunges, but Igris ends things with a clean, no-nonsense beheading. Jinwoo watches, thoroughly impressed, reminiscing about their earlier sparring match. "If Igris had used his sword back then," he muses, "I wouldn't have stood a chance. Heck, I might still not stand a chance." He gives Igris a well-earned nod of approval. Meanwhile, things aren't going so great for Kim Cha. His team is decimated by the Ice Elves, leaving him the last man standing. With panic in his eyes and survival instincts kicking in, he does what any self-respecting tanker would do in his situation. He runs. Fast. And that's where we leave things. Don't forget to hit subscribe, you wouldn't want to miss what happens next, would you? Jinwoo stood triumphant over the defeated Death Bears, showing off his necromancer skills with a simple command, "Rise." From the fallen beasts, shadowy versions emerged, swelling his ever-growing army. Outside the portal, Sung explained that the strike force had been stuck inside for 3 hours, which, thanks to the funky portal time, was more like 3 days. Red gates were infamous for being death traps, so Dong-su jumped to the conclusion that Jinwoo must be toast. As he was about to leave, though, he demanded to know why Jinwoo was even hanging out with the White Tiger Guild. Sung played it cool, saying Jinwoo was just tagging along to watch a C-rank mission. But Dong-su wasn't buying it. He grabbed Sung by the throat, accusing him of hiding something. That's when Baek Yoonho stepped up, transforming and telling Dong-su to back off. Instead of calming down, Dong-su got even angrier, dismissing Baek as a big fish in a small pond. The two S-rank hunters started flexing their power, making everyone nearby feel like they'd signed up for the world's worst earthquake simulator. Meanwhile, inside the portal, Kim Chul was relieved to escape the Ice Elves until he stumbled on the shredded remains of the Death Bears. He couldn't believe the E-ranks he ditched could have done this and decided the Ice Elves must have been responsible. Shaking in his boots, he ran into the forest. Outside the gate, Dong-su is taken aback when Woo Jin-chul intervenes, successfully halting the escalating S-rank confrontation. Woo Jin-chul reassures Dong-su that Sung Jin-woo is merely an E-rank hunter, emphasizing that he re-evaluated Jin-woo 2 months ago and found no reason to believe otherwise. He further explains that the surveillance team's investigation into Dong-su's brother's death revealed that it was caused by a magic beast. However, Dong-su dismisses this as a convenient public cover-up, convinced that if Jin-woo isn't the culprit, then the true killer must be the wealthy Liu Zhigang. Woo Jin-chul questions why Dong-su is targeting Jin-woo if he believes he isn't the murderer, to which Dong-su coldly replies, "It's an excuse to kill." Before the conversation can continue, Dong-su is called away, muttering that Jin-woo is lucky. Inside the gate, Jin-woo's group was enjoying a rare moment of warmth and food around a fire until Kim Chul barged in, furious to see them thriving. He accused them of hoarding supplies, pointing the finger at Park Hee-jin for switching teams because she knew the truth. Kim Chul, in full drama mode, gave an ultimatum: confess or face his wrath. When nobody responded, he screamed Jinwoo's name and charged, but before he could land a blow, Jinwoo appeared out of nowhere and shut him down with laughable ease. Jinwoo scolded Kim Chul for blaming others, then turned his attention to a dark presence nearby. He called out whoever was hiding, saying their aura was too strong to ignore. Sure enough, the Ice Elves revealed themselves, with their leader sneering at Jinwoo. To everyone's shock, Jinwoo spoke the elves' language like he was on Duolingo for magic beasts. The leader explained they had sensed Jinwoo's overwhelming power and wanted to challenge him. Before the elf could finish, Jinwoo ended the challenger with one swift move. The leader, amused but unshaken, defended himself against Jinwoo's attack and dropped a bombshell. Jinwoo didn't feel human to him. Even the elves' mental, kill all humans instinct didn't apply to Jinwoo, which made them suspicious. Jinwoo, now more curious than annoyed, demanded to know why the elves were after humans. As the elven leader begins to answer Jinwoo, something bizarre happens. His body glitches like a broken video game, and he starts repeating himself. Despite the creepy loop, Jinwoo refuses to back down. The leader warns him that defiance will make Jinwoo their enemy and reminds him that they vastly outnumber him. Jinwoo just smirks, questioning what makes the leader so cocky. Without hesitation, Jinwoo summons his shadow army, leaving everyone including the elves staring in disbelief. The leader scoffs, calling Jinwoo's forces a waste of time. Jinwoo shrugs off the insult and demands a fight. The leader agrees, and chaos erupts. As the battle intensifies, the humans with Jinwoo attempt to escape, but elven archers target them. Jinwoo eliminates the archers with ease, yet he begins to grasp the leader's confidence. The elves are stronger than expected, and while his shadow soldiers are immortal, regenerating them drains his finite mana. Worse, the elven leader, Bara, is clearly stronger than Jinwoo. Bara, ever theatrical, formally introduces himself. Jinwoo responds in kind before their brutal fight begins. Bara dominates at first, but is caught off guard when Jinwoo teleports his blade mid-attack. Their exchanges grow fiercer, with Jinwoo barely holding his ground. Bara, exhilarated, admits he hasn't had this much fun in years. Jinwoo, smirking, drops a meteor on him. Meanwhile, Kim Chul regains consciousness and, still seething with rage, sneaks through the chaos to ambush Jinwoo. However, Jinwoo, anticipating this, uses Igris to create a smokescreen and swiftly takes Kim Chul down. In his final moments, Kim Chul realizes he's been outplayed. Jinwoo resurrects him as a shadow soldier, now named Iron. As Bara battles Jinwoo's army, his confidence falters upon seeing Iron's towering form. Bara mocks Jinwoo for hiding behind his creations. Demanding a direct fight, Bara battles Jinwoo, Igris, and Iron simultaneously. While dodging Igris's strikes, Jinwoo lands a hit, impressing even Bara with his relentless strategy. The tide turns when Jinwoo throws his dagger. Bara mocks him, but Jinwoo recalls the blade mid-flight, shattering Bara's weapon. Seizing the opportunity, Jinwoo orders Iron to restrain Bara, and a massive fire attack follows. Though Bara breaks free and strikes down Iron, Jinwoo counters, delivering the final blow. The shadow regenerates. Bara's defiance ends as Iron ensures his defeat is absolute. Jinwoo, amused, tells Iron to calm down before announcing the battle's end. A week later, Beak waits for news, expecting Kim Chul's return. When Jinwoo emerges unscathed, Beak is horrified to learn only 2 low-rank hunters survived. Demanding answers, Beak is brushed off by Jinwoo, who's too exhausted to care. Realizing Jinwoo saved them, Beak resolves to recruit him. Despite failing to raise Bara as a shadow, Jinwoo takes solace in gaining Iron. The weight of the battle lingers as he takes Sonya home. The next day, Jinwoo meets Leo for their mission. Insisting on picking up Sonya, Jinwoo inadvertently causes Leo to misunderstand their relationship, leaving Leo suspicious and concerned. You watching in absolute amazement as Jinwoo's soldiers effortlessly take down a group of powerful beasts. Their overwhelming strength leaves you baffled, wondering where these creatures came from. Jinwoo notices Yu's confusion and remembers Yu hasn't seen them before. He explains they are part of one of his skills, and Yu is stunned to learn such immense power is even possible. With the battle over, Jinwoo orders his army to start mining the area for crystals. Yu feels disheartened, realizing there's no way to compete with his army, and pleads for Jinwoo to at least let him have the essence stones. Jinwoo, not one to be selfish, agrees, and one of his soldiers shares the loot with Yu. Meanwhile, in a wrecked ship, a mysterious man stands amidst the destruction. A frightened soldier begs for his life, but the man calmly reassures him, though the language barrier complicates things. Switching to English, the man reveals he's human and simply wants to return home. Back with Jinwoo, he and Yu celebrate completing the 19 raids that were part of their deal. Now, Yu must pass the written exam at the association to get his guild master's license, enabling him to negotiate with his father. Jinwoo, however, decides to travel for a while. Yu assumes it's to avoid him, but Jinwoo, slightly drunk, assures him otherwise. The conversation turns personal when Yu reveals how his 10-year older brother has never been kind to him, leaving him wishing Jinwoo were his brother instead. Touched, Jinwoo says that from this moment on, he'll consider Yu his little brother. Elsewhere, the mysterious man is restrained by investigators who speculate about his origin. Claiming to be a foreign hunter trapped in a gate for 10 years, he recounts his escape through a gate in America. Despite his explanation, suspicions linger that he might be a humanoid magic beast. The investigators request the aid of S-rank hunter Dong-Soo to interrogate him. For now, all they know is his name, Ian. Back at Jinwoo's home, he informs his sister he'll be traveling for a week. She notes how busy he's been and asks who he's going with. Annoyed, Jinwoo vaguely replies, "A friend." Soon after, Jinwoo revisits the Demon Castle. He recalls barely surviving his battle with Cerberus when he was only level 20. Now, with his level tripled, the challenge should be easier. Using a key from his system, Jinwoo enters the castle and learns the daunting quest requires him to collect 10,000 demon souls. Undeterred, he presses on, determined to gather ingredients for the elixir of life. Meanwhile, Yu discusses with his father his intentions to take over the guild, aware his brother has similar plans. Yu disapproves of his brother's risky ideas and insists on running the guild himself. However, his father seems more concerned about Yu's association with Jinwoo. He recounts how Jinwoo survived 3 perilous and controversial incidents: the double dungeon, the wiped-out raid team, and the convict massacre. Jinwoo also led survivors to safety during the Red Gate incident. Yu's father accuses him of leveraging Jinwoo's reputation to obtain his guild master's license. Yu admits his methods were questionable, but insists he has the guild's best interests at heart. Surprisingly, his father agrees to the plan on one condition: recruit Jinwoo into their guild before the White Tigers can. Yu confidently promises to make it happen. Inside the demon castle, Jinwoo discovers he cannot extract demons to add to his army and struggles to understand why. Nonetheless, he receives a permit to the next floor. Guided by a beam of light, he marvels at the dungeon's vastness. It resembles an entire city within one building. Riding on his summoned bear, Tank, Jinwoo navigates through hordes of demons, letting Tank plow through the enemies with ease. As Jinwoo progresses, he notes the demons' increasing strength and speculates that the castle might have 100 floors. Reaching 4,000 collected souls, Jinwoo remains mindful of his supplies and his promise to return home in a week. After an intense journey, he finally collects 10,000 souls and encounters Vulcan, the boss of the lower floors. Despite its massive size, Vulcan moves with terrifying speed. Jinwoo matches its agility and lands a powerful counterattack. However, Vulcan enters a second, more dangerous mode, forcing Jinwoo to strategize. Using the environment to his advantage, Jinwoo tricks Vulcan into crashing into a building, immobilizing it long enough for Jinwoo to deliver a decisive blow to its neck. With Vulcan defeated, Jinwoo earns a rare item, the World Tree Fragment. Elsewhere, Ian undergoes questioning by Dong-soo. Despite being labeled a humanoid magic beast, Ian insists otherwise, offering to undergo any tests. Dong-soo dismisses Ian's chatter, but Ian warns that humanity's understanding of gates and magic beasts barely scratches the surface. He claims that a catastrophic power has awakened, one hunters cannot stop. Dong-soo scoffs at the notion, but Ian grimly insists this force will consume humanity itself. Dong-soo, irritated and confused, cuts off Ian's ominous declarations, still puzzled by how a magic beast could have had a wife and 2 children. Dong-soo curiously asks Ian what his son's name is, and when Ian reveals it's Jinwoo, Dong-soo lights up with joy only to cruelly declare that Jinwoo is dead. Refusing to answer any of Ian's questions, Dong-soo coldly suggests he ask his son directly when they meet in the next world. To drive the point home, Dong-soo flexes a fraction of his power as a warning, but Ian responds with a deadly glare, making it clear he's not backing down. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon, Jinwoo's shadow army tears through yet another horde of demons. Facing the demon leader, Jinwoo quips about how one-sided the fight has become, wondering if the demon is shocked by the strength of his soldiers. It's clear even the undead can feel fear, and with a swift strike, Jinwoo decapitates the leader. A notification confirms his victory over Medes, the guider of souls, and Jinwoo levels up yet again. Outside the dungeon, chaos has engulfed part of the city. An investigator surveys the aftermath of a battle between S-rank hunters, marveling at how their power can reshape the landscape and destroy everything in sight. He notes that, fortunately, the destruction was contained to a single area, though the devastation could have been far worse. The clash ended so quickly that the damage didn't even have time to spread, leaving Dong-soo utterly defeated in a blink. Back in the dungeon, Jinwoo hits a snag. He's out of food. For now, this is where his journey must pause. He's reached floor 75, with 25 more to go, a daunting distance, but the rewards have been worth it. From his recent battles, Jin Woo's earned incredible gear. A necklace from the skeleton boss and an earring from the beast on floor 50. Together, they grant him a bonus of 5 points to all stats. But there's still one missing piece to complete the set. Jin Woo also acquires the Sphere of Avis, which doesn't boost him directly but dramatically enhances his magic soldier's firepower. Finally, he gains a cursed random loot box, which he had feared he'd never encounter again. To his relief, the box grants him a second key, though its purpose remains a mystery. For now, Jin Woo focuses on what truly matters, collecting the ingredients for the elixir of life. With the world tree fragment from Vulcan and the spring water from Echo Forest secured, only one more ingredient stands between him and saving his dying mother. Jin Woo vows that when he returns to the dungeon, he'll finish what he started. Jin Woo contemplates his predicament. He's stuck in the kiddie pool when he belongs in the deep end. If he wants in on high-level raids, he needs a rank reassessment. Meanwhile, Hyan is scouting for hunters and quickly tips off Beak that Jin Woo is about to shake things up at the Hunter Association. Escorted to the waiting area, Jin Woo overhears 2 hunters chatting about the reassessment process. When his turn arrives, things take an unexpected turn. A female association worker struggles with his evaluation, prompting another worker to step in. The verdict: the machine can't even measure his magic power. Jin Woo's off the charts. The worker labels him an S rank, making him the 10th in the country to reach this level. Elsewhere, Choi and Woo discuss the Red Gate incident. Choi is itching for details on the mysterious outsider Jin Woo, but Woo comes up short. Their chat is cut short when commotion erupts in the lobby. Upon arrival, they find Jin Woo being told to return in 3 days because the reassessment machine gave up on life. Choi approaches Jin Woo, eager to talk guilds, but Jin Woo isn't in the mood for recruiter pitches and exits. Then, Beak arrives, and Hyan fills him in on Jin Woo's predicament. Choi pieces it together: Jin Woo must be the Red Gate's mystery savior. Later, Jin Woo visits his hospitalized mother. As he leaves, he runs into Woo, who introduces him to Go. Go doesn't need a machine to tell him Jin Woo is an S rank. His instincts scream it loud and clear. He offers Jin Woo a position in his association, warning that if Jin Woo joins one of the 5 guilds, it'll tip the power balance. Jin Woo politely declines. He's got dungeons to clear. Go respects his decision, and they part ways. Meanwhile, a deputy chief visits Dong-soo in the hospital, asking whether Roman 2H1 is a magic beast. Dong-soo insists he is, but the chief doubts anyone will catch him. Left alone, Dong-soo recalls his battle with Roman 2H1 and his ominous warning, "Stay away from my family." Determined to even the odds, Dong-soo sets his sights on obtaining powerful artifacts. Coincidentally, Jin Woo is also in artifact research mode, hunting for top-tier gear before revisiting the demon's castle. His search leads him to a job listing. He plans to recruit people for an A-rank gate. Meanwhile, Go and Woo dig into Jin Woo's hunter history, discovering his odd decision to work a mining job. Jin Woo meets the mining manager and breaks the 4th wall, explaining how high-level dungeons aren't just about brute force, they require specialized teams. Meanwhile, Choi, Hee-in, and their crew clear an A-rank dungeon, stepping out victorious. Jin Woo takes note of their credentials before heading into the dungeon himself. While everyone else sticks to their roles, Jin Woo has other plans. He senses the dungeon boss and itches for a fight. When break time is called, he waves off his co-workers and slips away, heading straight for the boss's chamber. He knows he shouldn't take it down, but that doesn't mean he won't. Just as he's about to make his move, Hee-in appears, stopping him in his tracks. With a knowing look, she asks the million-dollar question, "Exactly what do you think you're doing?" Hee-in blocks Jin Woo at the dungeon boss's gate, telling him to back off before he ticks off the boss and puts the mining team in danger. Jin Woo listens mostly. But before he leaves, Hee-in gives him a good sniff. Something clicks. She realizes Jin Woo is a hunter. After checking his ID, she lets him go. Back with the miners, Jin Woo learns an interesting fact: Hee-in's sense of smell is way too sharp. certain hunter scents bother her, which is why she's always covering her nose with a handkerchief. But Jinwoo, no distinct scent. He figures it's because he's the player. Later, a miner hands Jinwoo his paycheck and offers him more work. Jinwoo declines at first, but the miner sweetens the deal, double the pay and some A and C rank raid missions coming up. Jinwoo agrees to stick around for another day. Meanwhile, Hee-in makes a call, trying to dig up info on Jinwoo. No luck, his records are locked tight. She hangs up, thinking about how odd Jinwoo is. More importantly, he's the first hunter she's met who actually smells nice. The next day, Jinwoo joins the miners again. During his break, Captain Sun Ki-hoon shows up looking for a volunteer to carry luggage into an A-rank dungeon. The job comes with a risk bonus. Jinwoo shrugs and signs up. Inside the dungeon, Ki-hoon mentions he's not officially a captain yet, but this raid is supposed to change that. Then, trouble arrives, jackal-type magic beasts. Ki-hoon's team takes them down, but then things get worse. High orcs show up, and they do not mess around. Ki-hoon's team struggles, but Jinwoo secretly lends a hand using his stealth skills. The team wins, but they're confused. How did they pull that off? One of them knows Jinwoo helped and promises to keep it a secret. The team decides to retreat, but when they reach the dungeon entrance, a problem arises, a barrier. Someone confirms it was set by a high-level entity and that removing it will take time. Before they can do much, a powerful presence fills the air. Suddenly, 50 high orcs appear. Their leader, Kargalgan, steps forward, introduces himself, and gives Ki-hoon a choice: come with him or die. Ki-hoon, being smart, chooses the first option. Before they part ways, Ki-hoon asks Jinwoo to escape the dungeon and bring reinforcements. One of Ki-hoon's allies hands Jinwoo her short will, asking him to deliver it to her family just in case. Jinwoo nods, taking the task seriously. Meanwhile, Hee-in swings by the mining team's work site, looking for Jinwoo. A worker tells her Jinwoo volunteered as a porter and entered the A-ranked dungeon next door. And we see Ki-hoon's group and Jinwoo standing before Kargalgan at his base. Hee-in borrows a weapon from a miner. She's got a dungeon to investigate. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Ki-hoon's squad are very outnumbered, surrounded by Kargalgan's high orc army. Kargalgan, never one for subtlety, declares his plan: kill, torture, and eat them for entertainment. Ki-hoon, not one to back down, charges in alone. Bad move. Kargalgan barely lifts a finger, using magic and gravity powers to smack Ki-hoon down. Jinwoo steps in, saves Ki-hoon, and gives him a simple order: run. Jinwoo's taking on Kargalgan and his army solo. He summons his shadow army, ready to throw down. Meanwhile, Woo and his team reach the dungeon. A miner fills them in. Jinwoo took a porter job, went in with Ki-hoon's squad, and oh yeah, Hee-in entered too. Before Woo steps inside, a strange aura sweeps past him. Cut to Hee-in, standing over a pile of dead high orcs. She barely broke a sweat. With a pickaxe in hand, she heads toward Kargalgan's location. Back to Jinwoo, he powers up his shadow army with a fresh magic skill, and the battle begins. Jinwoo tries to close in on Kargalgan, but the orc leader keeps blasting him back and wiping out his forces. Ki-hoon's team uses the distraction to escape. One of Woo's allies notes that this A-rank dungeon feels a little too close to S-rank territory. Woo orders them to call in backup from the Hunters Association. Jinwoo, unfazed, chugs a potion and summons an army of undead high orcs. He taunts Kargalgan, saying he'll be joining them soon. Kargalgan realizes Jinwoo isn't just some hunter, he's something else. But orders are orders, and Kargalgan commands his army to slaughter everyone. Elsewhere, Choi and a colleague discuss the dungeon crisis. She worries it could turn into another Jeju Island disaster. Choi agrees and sends more hunters to the scene. Back in the dungeon, the battle rages on. Ki-hoon's team wants to help Jinwoo, but Kargalgan's magic stops them in their tracks. Kargalgan personally challenges Jinwoo, throwing magic at him, but it doesn't work. Jinwoo summons his mages, who promptly obliterate Kargalgan's magic shield. He finally arrives and is completely baffled by the battlefield. She spots Woo, who clearly knew about Jinwoo's strength long before she did. Jinwoo and his army finish the fight. Kargalgan falls. Without missing a beat, Jinwoo uses his shadow extraction ability, turning Kargalgan into a shadow soldier. He gives his new recruit a name, Tusk. Kahoon's group, Hee-in, and Woo approach Jinwoo, but Woo's men step forward. They make it clear Jinwoo is a top-secret asset of their association. Nobody's allowed to talk about what just happened. Kahoon thanks Jinwoo for saving them and gets back the will of his fallen comrade, who, thanks to Jinwoo, isn't fallen anymore. Later, Choi debriefs Kahoon about the whole mess. He confirms everyone made it out alive and shares what he learned about Jinwoo's abilities. He then asks Kahoon a simple question: is Jinwoo stronger than me? Kahoon doesn't hesitate. Jinwoo's stronger, because even Choi wouldn't survive in a rank dungeon alone. Choi orders Kahoon to bring Jinwoo to him. Meanwhile, Jinwoo meets up with Jinho at a cafe. They casually chat about Jinho's latest guild master plans. Outside the Hunters Association, reporters swarm the building, all buzzing about Lee Min-sung's awakening. Inside a nearby car, Min-sung quietly watches, deep in thought. Beak and Choi arrive at the Hunters Association building, only to be swarmed by reporters eager to discuss recruiting Lee Min-sung. Beak dismisses them, stating they're there for other reasons, and the reporters back off. The two then bicker about recruiting Jinwoo. Before entering the building, one of Min-sung's associates asks if they're competing over Min-sung. Both clarify they're not interested in him. Observing from a distance, Jinwoo notes he's there for his hunter rank reassessment. During Min-sung's press conference, he announces his awakening and intention to reassess his hunter rank, expressing a desire to fight under Fiend Guild's master, Lim Tae-jayu. Privately, Min-sung plans to join the Fiend Guild for 2 years to let his scandals fade, aiming to return to entertainment afterward. As Jinwoo attempts to enter the building during the conference, a staff member stops him. Go arrives, instructs the worker to allow Jinwoo entry, and they proceed inside. When Min-sung tries to enter for his reassessment, Woo blocks him. Inside, Jinwoo, Go, and another man discuss verifying Jinwoo's hunter abilities. Go encourages Jinwoo to fully display his summoning skills. Choi and Beak sense Jinwoo's immense power, astonished by its magnitude. Later, Jinwoo receives his new hunter license and plans to sell an item and tackle the demon's castle. Choi and Beak attempt to speak with him, but he declines, citing a busy schedule. Before he leaves, the press intercepts him. Meanwhile, Song-yi informs Jinna that Jinwoo is on television. They discover he's become the 10th S-rank hunter in history. After various reactions to the news, Jinho meets with Myung-hen, admitting he couldn't recruit Jinwoo. Jinwoo tells Jinho he prefers to train solo, believing that joining a guild would hinder his growth. Jinho shares this with his father, Myung-hen, who scolds him for his failures. Despite this, Jinho remains determined to follow Jinwoo. Meanwhile, Beak and Choi attempt to help Jinwoo escape the press, but he uses his own strength to slip away. He visits a hunter auction site, seeking an artifact to resist dungeon heat. The seller shows him a cloak and ring, but Jinwoo balks at the high prices. The seller jokes about giving them for free if Jinwoo can break the protective glass, but stops him, admitting it was a jest. Another seller offers to help Jinwoo find a weapon, but again, the price is steep. Jinwoo realizes that items from the player log shop are more expensive. Beak contemplates Jinwoo's abilities, speculating that he can continuously grow stronger. Returning home, Jinwoo informs his sister, Jinna, that he'll be away for a week. Jinho arrives, and Jinwoo introduces him to Jinna, mentioning they'll be working together for the week. Later, Jinwoo summons High Orc Shadows, assigning 2 to protect Jinna during his absence. On the rooftop, he summons more shadow soldiers to patrol the area. The next morning, Jinho drops Jinwoo off at Disung Tower. Jinwoo tells Jinho he'll be training for a while. He enters the demon's castle dungeon, equips several accessories, reviews his new tasks, and teleports to the 76th floor. While Myunghan collapses at home from overwork, Jinwoo faces a massive demon on the 76th floor. He summons his high orc shadow, Kiba, and hands him the Sphere of Avarice. With this powerful artifact, Kiba obliterates the demon. At the hospital, Myunghan's wife informs him about his collapse due to overexertion. The doctor suggests he might have eternal slumber disease. After two hunters encounter a bug-like magic beast, we shift back to Jinwoo, who has now reached the 80th floor. He has divided his shadow army into 4 squads. Noticing the first group is in trouble, he investigates and confronts the demon knights causing the issue. Jinwoo defeats 3 of the 4 knights and approaches the last one, pondering if these magical creatures can experience fear. Jinwoo's battle reaches its peak as he clashes with the enemy leader, nearly taking her down until she does the unthinkable. Right before the final blow, she surrenders. Removing her helmet, she reveals herself as Essel, pleading for mercy. Jinwoo coldly reminds her that he has already wiped out her squad, but she insists she was only fulfilling her duty to protect her lord. When he turns to leave, she suddenly attacks again, only to be stopped by Fang. Desperate, Essel offers a deal. Her family holds the entry permit he seeks, and she knows the locations of others. Skeptical, Jinwoo agrees, but only if she delivers. Meanwhile, chaos erupts on a distant island as a monstrous flying ant leaves devastation in its wake. Back in the demon castle, Essel introduces herself as the Radu family's eldest daughter. Jinwoo questions whether she hears voices commanding her to kill humans, but she denies it, saying she was ordered to protect this place upon arriving. When pressed about her past, she hesitantly reveals she came from the demon realm, where demons regained their senses before being sent here. As she starts to reveal their true mission, her voice turns robotic and an error message cuts her off, then she faints. At the Hunter Association, officials assess the recent attack on Japan's island's 2094 casualties, including hunters. Though a rank hunter took down the creature, the growing threat of flying ants prompts a large-scale Jeju Island mission. Back at the demon castle, Essel apologizes for fainting, teasing Jinwoo for worrying. She leads him to her family's estate, where her father and warriors greet him with hostility. Essel intervenes, reminding them of the deal, and her father, realizing Jinwoo's strength, hands over the permit. But Jinwoo has one more request. He wants to borrow Essel. Her father demands an explanation. Jinwoo reminds him that Essel knows where the other permits are. If she comes with him, things will go much faster. Her father agrees, but only if Jinwoo guarantees her safety. With the deal struck, Essel joins him on his climb. Scientists, meanwhile, are busy dissecting the monstrous flying ant, analyzing every detail. Jinwoo continues his ascent, reaching the 89th floor. He notices that Igris and Tank have leveled up. One is now an elite knight, the other a standard knight. One of them is as strong as an S-rank adventurer, while the other is close to an A rank. Not bad. Essel, on the other hand, has a different strategy. She suggests bringing gifts to the nobles on the upper floors to negotiate for permits. Jinwoo immediately shuts that idea down. He's not here to make deals. She warns him that the nobles above floor 90 are in a league of their own. Talking won't get him anywhere. Jinwoo agrees power is the only language that matters. Knowing that Essel's family is locked in competition with the other demon nobles, he promises to make them the strongest. Curious, Essel asks why he spared her family. His answer, "Because I like you." That leaves her blushing. Jinwoo chuckles. He really does get along well with simple-minded people like her and Jinho. He tells her to head home, reminding her that things are about to get dangerous. But before she leaves, he asks for the permit locations. Nervously, she wonders if she's now useless to him. He reassures her that's not the case. He just doesn't want to drag her into danger. Still, she insists on staying, wanting to witness his journey firsthand. Jinwoo allows it, and together they continue their climb. They reach the 97th floor, where monsters are far stronger and greater in number. Yet, Jinwoo tears through them with little trouble. Eventually, they reach the 100th floor. A shadow looms overhead. A wyvern descends, and riding it is none other than the demon lord, Baron. Jinwoo immediately feels Baron's overwhelming aura. Can he even win this fight? Freeze is paralyzed, while Issel panics, unsure whose side to take. Before Jinwoo can act, Baron summons demons from the skies. Jinwoo counters with his shadow army, easily crushing them, but Baron retaliates with a massive lightning storm, stunning Jinwoo's forces and draining his mana. Jinwoo rushes to ground Baron, but the demon monarch sees through his stealth, hurling him to the ground. A deadly lightning breath follows, only for Fang to intercept. In a swift strike, Igris decapitates Baron's wyvern, sending him crashing. Meanwhile, Japan's Draw Sword Guild proposes luring the ants with high magic, while Korea's hunters take down the queen. Some doubt the plan, but AI simulations confirm its success. Back in the demon castle, Jinwoo's mana runs low as Baron overwhelms his forces. Seizing his chance, Baron grabs Jinwoo's head, ready to end him until Igris intervenes. Jinwoo retaliates, severing Baron's hands, but another lightning breath devastates his army. With no choice, Jinwoo engages in a high-speed duel but gets disarmed. Just as Baron prepares another attack, Issel distracts him, giving Jinwoo the opening to rip his arms off. Desperate, Baron attempts a final lightning strike, but Jinwoo's uppercut sends his head flying. Quest complete, Jinwoo claims Baron's soul. Turning to Issel, he leaves a final message. Tell your father the Raidero family is about to rise. And that's a wrap. Don't forget to subscribe for the next part.